Hello, and welcome back to Life with Bree. I am excited to learn. I've grown this excitement. I feel like God has grown this excitement in me to learn and to grow in things. But it isn't as beautiful and pretty as it's kind of romanticized in my mind. Sometimes it's actually way more hard, and reality kicks in, and you're like, oh, but that is okay. You just got to keep learning and keep growing. And that's what has been encouraging me as I've started my business, as I'm learning to make sourdough. I learned a lot of this last summer and I've gotten pretty good at it. And I want to learn more about gardening and different things. But the journey and what I'm learning never stop being a learner, because you can be an expert at something. And if you stop learning, you stop you prevent yourself from being able to grow and become and have a teachable spirit. The experts that people usually value are those who have a learner's heart. And I want to be someone who's a learner. And as I've been encouraged to do that, because when you act like a know it all, it's not very attractive or fun. And it's not that you can't know things, it's just when you have a prideful and arrogant air to it, it's not very cute. Um, but right now, I am actually working on my sourdough starter. As you can see right here, hopefully, yeah, as you can see it right here. Um, it was going very slow, and I think I figured out why. A couple problems. I didn't realize I was actually adding like cold water. I wasn't really paying attention, but also like we put the air on during the day sometimes when it gets really hot, and that kind of temperature fluctuates, and that can kind of slow things down. So in the meantime, like my room, like it's pretty warm, and I have like a little shelf in there, so I just put it on that shelf, and it's doing pretty well. Um, and I'm gonna check back tomorrow. I have a bigger one in my room. Maybe I'll show you a clip of that. A bigger one, and I'm excited. And I'm gonna be planting some of my herbs that I got. I'm just gonna do like a little indoor herb garden. And my dear friend actually has a gardening book that she created as a project, as a capstone project, I believe, for high school. And I think it's so awesome. And I've been learning so much about gardening and just the importance of soil health. I think, especially, I have no background in gardening, zero, zit, zero, nothing. But it's like, I think if I were like as a beginner, I think I just want to grow food. I wouldn't even think about the soil health. But this book, it just magnifies the importance of healthy soil, and that if you don't take care of your soil, you're not gonna get a good harvest, or you're not gonna have abundance. Um, and I'm sure if y'all have helpful guidance and tips for beginners, you can leave that in the comments, because who does not want to learn? Who does not want to grow? And there's so many different ways to garden, especially in different places and different cultures. They do different things, but there's a lot of consistency in soil health that doesn't change. Um, yeah, and this is actually what I've been feeding my sourdough starter: rye flour, and then I have organic rye flour, then organic all-purpose flour. I think that's the King Author. I think that's the King Author flour. So I'm gonna finish that. And yeah, make sure you subscribe and come along if you're interested in learning and growing, and me sharing what I'm learning and growing in, whether it's in the area of business, health, finances, my homesteading journey, even though like I have desires to homestead. Um, but yeah, if you're interested in any of that, follow along and subscribe. So yeah. So you're not gonna be able to see me, but this is just the best I can do with my iPhone that I have. So we're gonna work with what we have, and I think it's better that you see what I'm actually doing than me myself. So this is my sourdough discard. I'm gonna be using this for different recipes and stuff like that. I also put in my compost too. I put some of it in my compost, but I'm going to figure out how to use it as well too. I usually do like sourdough crackers, sourdough pancakes. You can basically use sourdough discard from almost any recipe. You just have to reorder the recipe, or reorder the recipe around, because you're using sourdough starter and it has a bit of water in it as well too. So I'm just gonna dump some of my. Then I'm gonna feed. So my idea with this one, I think this is gonna be more of the personal one, and then the other one, or just maybe just be the backup one, and then the other one is gonna be the main one I use for baking, and for the baking products I'm gonna use to sell. So yeah, and I'm gonna add some all-purpose flour. As you can see, we're running very low. I need to get more, but I'm actually very excited because hopefully I'll be able to use my sourdough starter this week to make some sourdough bread for um my bakery stand that I do outside my mom's shop. I sell baked goods, then also some of the soaps and balms. It always seems like I say balms, but I'm saying balms that I make. So I'm excited about that. Something else that would be really fun. I have so many passions. That's why it's hard for me to kind of put it all like in one thing. And I feel like but that creates excitement. Like I am a very multi-passionate person. Um so this YouTube channel is going to be filled with all kinds of different things. So it's going to be quite an adventure. And if you're interested in that, you can follow along. I think I'm going to try doing this one more stiff. I've heard that actually when the sourdough starter is a bit more stiff, it does better. I don't know why. Maybe if you know, you can explain why in the comments section below. But I've actually realized that it actually does better. Maybe because it's lower. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's less water, like and the sour like the yeast has more flour to feed off on. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but that's my guess. So I'm gonna try doing this one a bit more stiff, and we'll check back in tomorrow. So, so something that's really cool is at the park that I go to, they have wild raspberries growing. And I don't think many people know that they're growing here, and it's quite cool. And I found out about it because last summer I saw a lady like picking from the bush and eating it. I was like, "Wait, can you eat it?" And she said yes, and she told me they were raspberries, and I tried it, and it was really good. And I know a lot of people will be skeptical and not trying it, but I'm kind of the curious type, and I tried it, and it was really good. So, I don't know if y'all can see that, if that's showing up very well. But this is the sun balm I was taking pictures of outside for my business. And by the time you watch this video, it would actually be on my website. Go check it out.